of the prohibition of alcohol. And with the prohibition of alcohol, he saw an opportunity to make money. He created an underground business of alcohol that made him the most notorious, famous gangster in the nation, some say even the world. The minute the alcohol prohibition was done away with and alcohol became legal again, then he said, what's my next business opportunity? And that was drugs and the casinos in Las Vegas. So the reality is that our history has shown us that when we don't regulate certain businesses, then all we are doing is creating a black market for it. And that's what we've been doing. Because if we are naive to believe that here in the city of Lynwood we don't currently deal with the illegal drug sales, then we're just simply that naive. But this is not about recreational marijuana. This is why we're not waiting until Proposition 64. Actually, LA Weekly today put out an article and they state that we are doing the right thing, that we are not waiting, that we are creating those standards in advance, that we are looking to answer those questions in advance. Because this is, again, has nothing to do with the recreational use of marijuana, nor does it have anything to do with the dispensing. In my humble opinion, if a patient needs to use marijuana, they should be able to go to their local pharmacy and obtain it that way. I don't like that they have to go through dispensaries. I don't like that we found a way to criminalize or make people feel like criminals just because they choose medicinal cannabis as an alternative. I also think we are in a nation that's very hypocritical, where any chance we get, we want to shove Vicodin down people's throat, Tylenol with codeine, and all these other things that do not make things better. We give it to them, and guess what? It doesn't make them feel better. It's killing their liver, and it's not helping them. It's a known fact. Big Pharma is the biggest reason why cannabis is not legal in the United States of America. But when we talk about the manufacturing of cannabis, we're not only speaking about the medicinal use of it. We're also talking about what can be produced from the plant itself. You can produce hemp material, hemp paper, hemp lotions, hemp shampoos, so many other different things. But more importantly, let me speak to you as a mother of 2 autistic daughters who suffer of autism. Earlier today, a special needs mom that I care very deeply for shared her concerns and said, we never pay attention to the special needs community. Well, actually, the special needs community has been the biggest proponent of the regulation of the THC cannabis oil. Why? Because it's been proven, and parents have moved from different states in the nation to Colorado just to obtain that strain of THC cannabis oil, because it reduces the amount of seizures their children are experiencing. Now, whenever you're dealing with something new, whenever there's change, there's going to be 3 cycles that we're going to experience. First, it's ridicule. Second, violently opposed. Third, accepted as self-evident. All throughout the weekend, we saw it ridiculed on social media. It's being ridiculed today of why not wait? But obviously people are not paying attention. This is not about recreational use. This is about setting standards and enhancing on what the state is proposing. Now, can the cultivation be banned completely? Most definitely, that's an option. But let's talk about finances. Earlier today, a resident, rightfully so, said, well, if we're going to do this, then let's do away with the penny tax. Well, here's what I'm learning. We can't put all our eggs in one basket. If the penny tax passes, that's great, but let me remind you that we did put a time period on it. And it's not going to fix all our issues. It's only going to help us get over the hump. So we need to worry about no longer running our budget in a deficit, but also creating our reserves. One of the biggest things we've been told by many people, auditors, consultants, is we need to increase our revenue sources. So the decision today is, do we take a strategic approach at this opportunity from a revenue-making standpoint, or do we ban it altogether? Now, when we talk about why dispensaries and not cultivation, well, because I don't want a dispensary in every corner, because I don't like them. To me, if it's for medicinal use, you should go to the pharmacy. But that's just my personal opinion. I just look at them like a bunch of liquor stores as well. But the cultivation aspect, I don't see that any different than someone getting up in the morning in the industrial area to make generic drugs. Because in case you weren't aware, in the city of Lynwood, there's a lot of generic medicine being made. So it's already happening. There's manufacturing of drugs in our community already legally. It just so happens not to be cannabis. So if we follow the efforts by the United Farm Workers to regulate the industry, now I can demand prevailing wages. There's a difference between getting someone a job in a warehouse making prevailing wages versus getting a job at a dispensary, at a retail store, making minimum wage. And I'm not saying that's how it works, because I don't know if that's how they get paid, but that's how I differentiate them. We're looking at people who have to not only understand the cultivation aspect of the plant, we also have to look at people who are going to maintain those buildings, which we're looking at janitors. We're looking at office people. We are looking at transportation experts, because it will be transported. We are looking at the food processing machines that need to be operated, and so on, and so on, and so on. So, colleagues, I wanted to say all that because I understand Mr. Alatorre's concerns. But again, I just feel so hypocritical when we talk about bringing new businesses to the city, and we always talk about sports bars and entertainment. I mean, come on, let's not be hypocrites. If the people opposing this was like, I don't drink at all and I don't smoke at all, I'd be like, okay, I'd give it to you. But when we push alcohol and tobacco in the form of entertainment so much on a daily basis, it's just laughable to hear that. When I see our communities glorifying novelas like La Reina del Sur, El Señor de los Cielos, it's just the hypocrisy behind it and how it's glorified until you have the personal need for that medicine. Until you find yourself having to drive far away to get it when you can barely stand up. And when you have to ask somebody for a favor and be ashamed because you don't know how to get a hold of it. Or if you really need it and you want to apply for your card, but you're too embarrassed that you might get fired. So everybody keeps on saying federally illegal. The medicinal use of marijuana is not federally illegal. There was an item written into the budget by Congress and Senate, basically telling us we will not interfere with the state's local control of medicinal use of marijuana. We're talking about two different things today. We're not talking recreation. We're talking medicinal use. We're not talking about anything different than the current generic prescription drugs that are being made here in the industrial area of Lynwood, to allowing for the same thing, to create jobs and the creation of revenue. There's going to be opposition to it. Is it the best?